Cincinnati Reds preview 2026. We're going to get through these I guess not last. I feel I'm almost done writing these team previews, but if we're doing a podcast for all of them, which we should because I've covered them all so far. We did put 3 into 1 last time, but might as well do them. Not all of them have been for free. But I think the rest will be just covering the highlights and just getting the podcast going. Always good to start the year with the podcast. As you know, in previous years, if you've been following along, the podcast has been pretty decent in the spring, but after the season started, it pretty much goes away. That could happen again, for sure, but it's a little bit more professional. I mean, I got some help. I got as more money, this is kind of the thing that happens, right? More subscribers, more money, more motivation to grow and to do new things, and more money to give to other people to help me out. So I think with Tim and the prospect stuff and Hunter, he's doing a great job writing. I'm still going to be looking for more writers and stuff. So I think there's a good chance the podcast keeps on going. And maybe someday, not this year, probably not next year, but maybe someday this can be full time. I'm questionable about that. Maybe once my kids are out of, maybe in 20 years, when my kids are all on their own. So, be patient. Be patient with me. Give me 20 years. Although who knows if I'll even care about baseball at that point. A lot changes in 20 years. Although for me, 35, I pretty much do the same things as I did when I was 15. Luckily that's okay. Like, I'm a little bit more of a serious person. I'm more responsible and stuff. Like I keep together my life. But when I was 15, what was I doing? I was like doing Excel sheets and playing fantasy sports and watching the Pirates. So not much different other than working, doing my other job and taking care of 3 kids and trying to keep keep things going at home. I was going to say keep my marriage going, which is true, but that doesn't really need effort. I don't know. I got a pretty good situation going. So the Reds, let's just go right into it. I didn't know, like, they have the Mr. Baseball, or no, the Mets are Mr. Baseball, but the Reds with the logo, like if you're looking at the video on this one, which I don't think many people are, but I usually put, like, I can't use the team logos. I could, I guess. I don't think I'm going to get in trouble, but I've just been using like the Canva like elements that are free. And I can usually find something for these teams, but the Reds, I didn't know what to put. So I put Skyline Chili, which I don't know what, like, I had to make sure that was even Skyline Chili. This thing looks like a mini, like, Chub hot dog with spaghetti on it or something. Is that what Skyline Chili is? Actually, I confess I never even tried this stuff. I've never even seen it, I don't think. I went to a Reds game with my wife 2 summers ago. Didn't bother with the Skyline Chili. I dated a girl in college for 9 months before she broke up with me. And her family were big Reds fans, and we didn't ever go to a game with them, but they were big Reds fans. And they lived in Ohio, but it wasn't close to Cincinnati. But I'd go the couple weekends I went up there. Her dad was a big Reds fan. He and I got along well. It's always too bad when a girl breaks up with you and you had a really good thing going with her dad. Do any of you I feel like a lot of guys have that kind of story that they can kind of vibe with me on that. You ever dated a girl and you didn't like the girl all that much, but you really liked BSing with her dad and watching sports and stuff? Like, I've had that situation happen a couple times, and this time I did like the girl. That was the only time I've been dumped, right? I went to Christian school, so it wasn't big. I went to public high school, but I think my total list, even if I'm being generous, my total list was like 5 girlfriends, including my wife. So, and that's pretty generous because the first 2 were like middle school or 9th or 10th grade where you hardly even count it. But the first real girlfriend I had in high school was like I loved her dad, just hanging out, doing sports, playing church softball league together, and then ended up cutting that one off just because I don't know, I just couldn't. I was trying to play fantasy baseball and stuff, I was trying to play tennis and be boys with my high school friends and the boys, just do boy stuff. write pirate blogs and stuff. Didn't have time for girls. So any high school kids listening to this, definitely encourage you to just kind of, hold off on it, man. Or either do one of the extremes, right? Like either get married really early on and just have a bunch of kids, or just chill until you're out of college, enjoy the time being a young, free male. Get your stuff together. Don't overindulge. I don't know. I guess my advice comes out of two sides of my mouth, but no one's looking for me for that advice anyway. But the Reds, Joey Votto was big back then. Like that was the Joey Votto years. Jay Bruce had a couple big years for them. They were actually pretty good. That was like 2010, 2011 is when a lot of those Reds, I have those Reds memories from the time it was actually just one summer dating that girl, but I hope her dad's doing well. I'll say that. I know she's doing fine. The age of social media, we know, and no ill will. So if she's listening to this podcast, hope you're doing well. But what's up? Tell your dad I said what's up. The Reds. Let's go to the ADP dashboard first. I don't want to spend too much time on these individual teams, but NL Central's wide open, right? The Pirates are making a slight push. The Brewers are not. The Brewers have gotten worse, although they tend to build from the system, from the minor leagues. They're very good. And as we covered just in the last podcast here, the organizational rankings, they're a top 5 prospect org. So we don't think the Brewers are going to be bad, but it's possible you see Freddie Peralta depart. And after that, they got Woodruff and Misiorowski, but talk about volatile starting pitching. It could be pretty ugly. Now, they keep winning divisions even without a great team on paper, at least, right? So you really can't you can't count them out by any means. Probably still the favorite. Point just being that they're not out there adding. They're not bulking up. The Cubs are getting worse, most likely. Edward Cabrera trade, they bulked up the rotation. Nobody's mailing it in except maybe the Cardinals. But Kyle Tucker's probably gone. The offense isn't looking like anything special. Their prospects, their farm isn't all that. It's super great. Pretty bad, actually, really. They get a pitcher or two, but I don't think the Cubs. I think you got the Brewers and Cubs kind of hovering around 80 wins. It seems like a bunch of 500 teams now. The Reds and the Pirates, certainly, I think maybe even they have a little bit more upside. And then the Cardinals are probably the right pick to finish last. The Reds have something going on here. If they can stay healthy, Burns, Green, Lodolo, really nice 1 through 3, and then Abbott, not a bad 4 by any means. So pretty nice rotation. Brett Lauder could come in as a 5th man. It's always a little bit shaky, in Great American, and a lot of these guys are fly ball pitchers. Pretty much all of them. I guess Lauder won't be, and Lodolo has a little bit of a ground ball thing going, but Abbott, Green, Burns are all fly ball guys. So you can beat them that way, just whatever. Like Green and Burns, maybe they strike you out 12 times, but you get a couple balls in the air. Like if you're in Cincinnati, a weak fly ball oftentimes scores you a couple runs. So but anyway, the great rotation, probably a top 7, top 8 rotation in the league. Now the offense, different story. Ellie's there, great hitter, great player, obviously. After that, though, you're just looking at the ADP. A lot of times the ADP can just kind of tell you. They have one hitter in the top 120, and then Noel V. Marte, Matt McClain. Sorry, there's a separator there too. Noel V. Marte's at 135, and we don't really even like him that much, as maybe we'll see in this pod. After that, it's McClain at 215. Sal Stewart, quite a good prospect. We're pretty into him at MLB Data Warehouse, but you never know if that'll happen in 2026, right? He's got to adjust, and this is his first real go at Major League hitters. So after that, like Steer, Stevenson, Friedel, that's everybody else in the top 300. So probably a mediocre lineup, probably below average. I think they were one of the lower scoring teams in the league last year, but we're not all that worried about how good these teams are for what we're doing here. It's always good to talk about that. We all like baseball. We're all concerned about who the better and worst teams are, but we're mostly here to get you ready for fantasy drafts and just set the stage for knowing the basics, at least, of the players that you're going to be looking at drafting in fantasy. So Ellie De La Cruz will pull up. I'm just showing the written team preview, which isn't published yet. This is all in like the publisher mode, but this, as you're hearing this, the post is out. But so I show that on the screen. If you're on Spotify or Substack or YouTube or Twitter, you can watch the video. If you're on Apple, just listen, but whatever. I try to just talk through it as if nobody's watching anyway. But Ellie De La Cruz, first round pick. I don't really, what's the point of talking about first round picks? We can get to the projection, but interesting story with him last year. Definitely was playing hurt. What did he do? Played through a quad issue, and in the second half, you really saw it. Like right after that quad issue thing happened in June or July, the production really fell apart. Second half, he hit 236, 28% K rate, 4 homers, 12 steals. So the power was gone. He slugged 363 after that. All that stuff happened. Now in the first half, it was looking like a career year. I mean, he was one of the best hitters in the league. He was slugging 495. K rate was down to 24%. He hit 18 bombs in the first half. I mean, he was on his way to like a 30 homer, 50 steal, something. He was probably on his way to 30, 40 season with a 275 average or something like that. I don't think he was going to hit 284, but the K rate was down to 24%. Remember, this was a guy 31%, 32% in his first couple hundred plate appearances in the majors. He's really patched that up. 34% in 2023, K rate for Ellie, 31% in 2024, 26% in 2025. And that probably would have been lower if not for the injury. So the one thing you might have to criticize, and it probably had to do a little bit with the quad, but a career low stolen base attempt rate by far. I mean, he was at 46% attempt rate in 2023, 51% in 2024. Last year, just 26%. Even before the injury, it was down. It was... I had it. I for sure wrote it down here. 28% before the leg injury. So it's not like he was at 45% and then he got hurt and he couldn't run anymore. It was 28% before and like 24% after. So he's not going to be, assuming that maintains. And smart people always would have projected that. You don't expect somebody other than the guys that are only on the roster because they can run really fast. Chandler Simpson. That Gore guy, Terrence Gore, that's extreme. Jose Caballero, like those guys will go 50 or 60%, whatever, every year. But Ellie's not. Stealing bases is like the third or fourth best thing he does, right? So you were never going to see a 50% for even a 40% thing there long term. So 26%. Maybe it comes up to 30 again, 30, 35. Maybe he can steal 40 bases again, but he's still 67 in 2024. You're just not going to see that again. And we'll look at all the projections here. But yeah, the power has never been he's never been a guy to flirt with 40 home runs, career highs 25 in 2024. I think he can build on that. He keeps raising the ground ball rate. I mean, it was down from his rookie year 55%, and then 2024 it was 47%. Last year 51%, but it became a problem again after the injury a little bit. So I think you could improve on that. I think he can get to 46% or something like that. K about 25% of the time. And with the power he has, it's a little bit one-sided, I believe. He's a switch hitter, right? And he doesn't do a ton of power from the left side, I believe. We should pull up those splits, and I will do that. I'm not sure if I actually noted that in this, but I don't think he has got 40 homer potential, but I do think he cruises to 25 if he's healthy for a full year. So he's a 25-40 guy with a batting average that isn't always great, but the way if he hits the ball, he hits the ball so well, so hard, he runs so fast that 245 XBA last year. So I think you're at a 260 expectation or something next year. Splits wise for Ellie, just 5 homers as a right-handed hitter last year. Slugged 342 as a righty. So the splits, he's last year at least, he was much worse against left-handed pitching, which would mean as a right-handed hitter. So I might have had that backwards. 17 bombs of 486 slugging, hitting left-handed against right-handed pitching, 25% K rate. Flip the other way around, 29% K rate. So it's better to be strong from the left side. That's the side you'll be most on. And I don't know, how often do we see guys just give up the switch hitting thing and just let him just always hit lefties, even against lefties? Probably not a great idea, but something interesting there. Let's go to the projections. You got the web app pulled up here. You're seeing it on the video, but if paid subscribers have access to this web app with all kinds of good stuff, and in this case, we're looking at the projections that show for the 3 systems that are out, mine, Steamer, and the bat. I've got him 29 homers, 36 steals, 259 batting average. My system tends to be a little bit more aggressive, and the opposite of that. I don't regress nearly as much, I guess. You'll see differences with mine. In this case, a much higher home run rate, 29 homers for Ellie, but the bat says 22 homers, 41 steals, 256 average. So we're all around a 260 batting average. Steamer's got the bat has the lowest home run expectation at 22, which is a little bit surprising. So the bat seems low in a lot of guys. I don't know, but projection of 29 homers and 36 steals with a 260 batting average, like he's first round pick. I think he's a really nice get at like 7 or 8. If you look at the ADP, he is number 9 on the average draft. That's great, man. I would love to pick 9th, get my hands on Ellie, maybe turn around and get Skeens or Crochet or Skewball or whatever in the second rounds. And I think you could absolutely get top 3, top 4 production from Ellie. And that's what he was doing before the injury. So maybe he would have done that all year. And at that point, you would have had him probably at the number 4 or 5 pick behind Soto, Witt, and then the big 2, obviously. So a little bit of value on Ellie, I think, there. Noelvi Marte. So that's what I'm talking about. Like after that, we're talking about guys that might suck. I don't know. Like they really only have this one good hitter. Maybe they'll do something. They were somewhat in on Schwarber, I guess, but I haven't heard much from the Reds and on other free agents. But then again, like we didn't hear that the Blue Jays were in on Okamoto either, and then they signed him. Every dumb reporter was like, "Oh, well, he really wants to be on the West Coast, and he's willing to take less money to stay on the West Coast." Like, okay, and then so they were like, every freaking journalist said it's not really their fault. They're just going with the information they're given, but it just goes to show that these guys don't have all that much information in a lot of cases. But everybody said Okamoto was Padres, Pirates, or Mariners. Like that was it was like, or Angels, I guess. But then the Angels kind of went out of it. So on like the last few days, you're like, okay, it's one of these 3 for sure. And then it goes to the Blue Jays, who hadn't even been rumored in it. So weird things can happen. But Noelvi Marte is an interesting guy. I mean, he is projecting for a good home run plus steals things. I got him for 23 bombs and 16 steals. The bat has Noelvi for 19 homers and 16 steals, all around a 250 batting average. Steamer's low, 16 homers, 13 steals, but they project less playing time. And there's a couple problems with him. Really aggressive, not really aggressive, but a 52% swing rate is high. His zone contact rate is bad at 80.5%. That's not horrible, but you really want around 85%, like 80% or lower. You start to worry about the strikeout. The EVs, like I thought he was like an EV monster, and he was for the max. He hit a 116.7 last year, but the EV90 was 105.0, which is fine, but not great. So he just wasn't hitting it consistently. 12.1% air pull, 46% ground ball rate. Like just the batted ball profile isn't great. He's not very consistent in getting to the EVs, and that's just kind of who he's been his whole career, from what I can tell. I mean, inconsistent. Now, if he was going to play all year, if we knew for sure that he was in for 155 games, I think he probably gets to 2020, like not much problem. And the 600 plate appearance projection is 25-17. So maybe the steals you're a little bit less bullish on. But 2015 seems like a floor if he plays all year. But the problem is he's kind of positionless. He was a third baseman coming up, and then I don't think he was that good at that. They acquired Ke'Bryan Hayes from the Pirates last year, and Hayes is just going to play at third base. He's the best he won the Platinum Glove one year, right? Meaning he was the best overall defender. So they want him in, which means Noelvi's got to go to right field, and I don't think he's great at that. It was his first year there, so maybe he figures it out enough to play every day. But you just have these questions like, if he's not hitting that well and he's not playing good defense, does he just like sit sometimes? Does he go to some sort of platoon or something like that? So you have those questions now. He's probably the team's second, third, or fourth best hitter, like fourth best hitter at absolute worst, you'd think. So they probably want to get him in there. He struggled against lefties last year, though. Only 104 plate appearances, though, but 274 slugs. So, maybe he's just not playing quite every day, and maybe that does bring the playing time down to where these projection systems are at, and that's the risk. But home runs and steals for basic roto leagues, like he should definitely be on teams. And then the third base outfield eligibility is pretty nice as well. But I would say high ceiling, high risk, high reward. We could say that with him. Matt McLain next. I don't know. He had the really nice 2023 season where he had an 864 OPS and 16 homers in 89 games with 14 steals. He was awesome. Then in 2024, he was people were being pretty aggressive on him in drafts, but then he got hurt before the year even started, missed the whole year. Last season comes back sucks. 643 OPS, 15 homers, 18 steals. So steals are there. This is Matt McLain we're talking about, but played 147 games and slugged 343 with 15 bombs in Cincinnati, 29% K rate. So not great. Bad plate discipline, 7.7% barrel rate. He's a small guy, so he doesn't just have easy power. I mean, the 293 expected WOBA was really bad. F scores give him an 87 grade. It just doesn't look great. And he's at risk of playing his way out of the lineup. Ellie's at shortstop, so they don't. A lot of times you have, I just wrote up the Mariners, so I think of J.P. Crawford. Like, he's not a good hitter, but he's in there because he's playing that defense at shortstop that you need so bad. But McLain as a second baseman, you can find someone else to play second base if he's not hitting. So I don't really want McLain this year. But anytime you have a guy with speed and a little bit of power in Great American, like you can see a 2020 season happening, it wouldn't be a shock, but it seems like he's just striking out too much and just doesn't have the raw power that you really want to see. So kind of out on McLain. At the same time, he would be a yellow. Remember the thing that we talk is green is like the green categorization would be like, I'm targeting this guy. I want him. I'll reach for him. Yellow would be like, if he fits the team and if he's there, ADP, like that's fine. Or red is like, I probably won't take him except in extreme circumstances. So I'd say Ellie would be green. McLain would be yellow, but maybe a reddish yellow. Sal Stewart next, 22-year-old first baseman. Big fan of him is Tim and Doc, I believe, too. So he's one of the better prospects. Definitely one of the ones, the redraft prospects to know to draft. He should be a standard league draft pick. I'm not saying that for sure. You'll look at him at the end of the year and be like, yeah, that was standard league obvious value, but you got to take a shot on him right now. Came up to the majors. Let's start minor leagues. Sal Stewart, 907 OPS, 20 bombs. Just last year, hit in 494 plate appearances, he hit 20 homers, 17 steals, 907 OPS. He was awesome. Comes up to the majors then, and pretty much, repeats a lot of it or continues a lot of it. Hit 255, slugged 545, hit 5 homers, 839 OPS. Now, didn't steal a base. On base percentage was low at 293. Struck out a lot, 26%. But that's not 31%. 26% is sustainable as long as you have some power, and he does have that. 107.2 EV90 in the majors. That's exactly what he had in the minors. He hit a ball 112.6, so that's a good max. He kept the ball off the ground, 35% ground ball rate, 28% air pull. Like, he did the same things with the batted ball profile in the majors as the minors, and that's like really, really good to see. Could he balloon the K rate a little bit? Could it go to 30% and cause big problems? Absolutely, it could. Hit an 82.6% zone contact rate, which is pretty encouraging. It's not great, but for a guy with power, like, you'll happily take an 83% zone contact rate if it's a double-digit barrel rate hitter. So really in that short playing time last season, 58 plate appearances, it was all good news. At the same time, 58 plate appearances, maybe he just got lucky. Like, you could absolutely see these next 100 be pretty rough. So you can never feel all that confident, and you never want to like go crazy. You don't want to put a guy like this on all of your teams, but I would put him in the green category. Like, for where he goes, he's at ADP 217. Just not a lot of risk there, and he's a super high upside guy. You could see 25 homers, 260 batting average. Maybe that 25, you could see 30 homers really if he's in there every day, and maybe he even grabs a dozen steals or something like that. Like, that's something he did in the minors. So pretty interested in Sal Stewart if we look to the projection systems. So this is one where my model probably needs thrown out. I should actually just look into this and see what happened, but I'm giving him a 229 batting average on a 25% K rate. It's really, really low. Steamer has him at a 272 batting average with a 19% K rate. The bat is giving him 265 batting average on a 20% K rate. So my K rate is way above. I should actually look into that. But I would always, I give you all these systems, and obviously the other systems are free. And again, I never want to be up here claiming that my season-long projections are the greatest, and you should listen to them. Like, use them. I think they're good for hitting, but yeah, if I were being honest, I would say you're probably better off using the Bat X for hitting and use ATC for pitching. Like, that's what I would do if a ton of money was really on the line. But I'm working on mine, and it's fun to have my own. And using them all together is a nice thing. Just see what the different systems, because these systems all have different means of getting there. So if you see wide disparities, that's something to kind of, for fun or whatever, just look into. And that's a case here where I seem to be very low on his batting average, but who knows? Maybe I'll be proven right. a 25% K rate. I don't know. Like, well, maybe I am right. Like, maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit here. He did. I know the zone contact rate we talked about was pretty decent, but not great. I mean, he was a 26% K rate in the majors last year, and in the minors, in his minor league season last year, he was at 16%, 17% the year prior. So that's probably what it's about. Like, he was just in the mid-teens, and I'm pushing him up 10 points from that. Again, not even really sure where that exactly is coming from. So I suppose it's too high, but wouldn't be surprised if that's what it is. Major league pitchers are really good. Spencer Steer, just keep it on the field. But I guess at some point, does he start losing playing time? I hope not, because I just ended up with him in this 30-team dynasty league we're doing. Just, the price I didn't want him, but the price I got him for was I needed to fill out a roster. It's not the easiest thing in the world to fill out a starting lineup in a 30-team freaking dynasty league. So I was just kind of bidding on what I would do. I would see the guys up for bid, and I would just say, well, my projections say he's worth, $8, and so I'll bid 5. And if I got them, then so be it. So I got Steer for a value that I thought was worth it, but I'm not excited about it. 3 straight 20 home run seasons, 23, 20, and 2021, the last 3 years for Steer, with that 21 coming last year. Stolen bases crashed last year, 7 on a 6% attempt rate. Hit 238. The batting average has been bad the last 2 years, and really 3 out of the last 4, although that 2022 season he barely played. So, the 2023 season, he came into the league, hit 271, 23 homers, 15 steals. Since then, 2024, he hit 226, 20 homers, 25 steals. Still pretty great. But then last year was his worst season. Only 568 plate appearances, 238 average, 21 homers, 7 steals. So I don't know. You're just hoping that he plays, because it's a good park. He knows how to get the ball in the air. He's pretty good at air pulling, and plays first. Looks like he didn't play enough outfield, but he's played third and outfield in the past. So I suppose the question is, will he play enough to be worth it? Now, in a 30-team league, which we're never talking about, but I feel fine about it there. But we have him as the first baseman and on-roster resource, but that is with Sal Stewart on the bench, which seems a little crazy. But Stewart, I think, can play third, but Hayes is there. So, Steer, somebody's got to lose out here. They got Gavin Lux at DH. I think they could probably give up on him, but Steer's not a great hitter either. So some mix of Steer, Lux, Stewart, maybe a little bit of Will Benson. I don't know. Those are the 3 guys kind of going for the first base and DH reps. Lux can play some second base, but, Lux, McClain, whatever. So it's just no guarantee. In the past few years with Steer, you felt good about the playing time and just kind of voluming his way there, but you don't feel that good about it this year. But still, like, a little bit of an underrated hitter maybe, but probably bad batting average and nothing special in home runs or steals. So I don't think you really need him in a standard 10 or 12 team league. And we'll rank him pretty low, I'd say. And Tyler Stevenson, TJ Friedel, we'll let you go read those. Lots of detail. I just kind of gave you everything. I gave you way too much there. So let's skip through, make you go to the written article if you want the full details. And let's talk about a couple of these pitchers. Hunter Green, total stud. I mean, last year got hurt, but 31% K rate, 6% walk rate, 1.3 home run per 9. So that came up a little bit to kind of where we thought it would be, but this K to walk was 25%, just elite stuff, 16.8% swing strike rate, 31% ball rate. Everything was great. Give up a lot of fly balls. That'll happen. He's going to give up some home runs. 4-seam slider guy, fly ball guy for sure. And that could wreck the ERA. I mean, he could run into a 1.5 home run per 9 season or something like that with some bad luck, but everything else checks out beautifully. 2.91 JA ERA, 2.35 JA Sierra, elite stuff. Not many guys can do a 25% K to walk. So you only have to worry about the health because he has had some of those problems in the past. Coming up, he was like, okay, this guy can strike guys out, but he walks a lot of guys and he gives up a lot of home runs. It seems like the walk stuff's fixed. I mean, he dropped his walk rate. It was his 4 walk rates of his career so far: 9, 10, 9, 6. Cut 3 points off, which is a ton. So maybe that comes back up to 7-8%, but the strikeouts are elite. Fastball's elite. He's an ace, SP1. Just the question of will he stay healthy enough? Chase Burns, kind of the same situation. Had a little bit of a scary, what was it last year? He had an injury in the middle and then just didn't rejoin the rotation. You just have to kind of worry about, Chase Burns. He's a lot like Hunter Green, 4-seam slider, high strikeout rate, pretty decent command and a fly ball rate that is a little bit bothersome, worrisome in Great American, but a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, like he's going to strike out a ton of guys. He's going to be awesome for sure. It's just like, can his elbow hold up? Is this guy is he an inevitable like Tommy John dude? That's the worry. But I don't want to draft like too scared. I'd like some shares of Burns. I would certainly be happy to get him in any kind of league, in a home league where you have high replacement value. His ADP is 117. I mean, you're not taking him as your SP1. You can often get him as your third guy, and he for sure has. I guess he probably doesn't have a chance to throw enough innings to like get a Cy Young or anything like crazy like that. But 140 innings of like a 2.9 ERA with a 105 WHIP and like a 30% K rate with a 6% walk rate, all that stuff is very, I don't know, maybe not very likely, but certainly within the range of outcomes. The projection is a 30% K rate with an 8.2% walk rate, 3.67 ERA, 1.14 WHIP. Pretty good. Nick Lodolo, he's been tough to predict. I mean, he was really good last year, 28 starts, a 3.4 JA ERA, 3.1 16 Sierra, 24% K rate, 5% walk rate, 19.5% K to walk, K minus walk, 45% ground ball rate. He was really, really good late in the year. Was great against righties, 296 expected WOBA. The health stuff's been a problem for him in the past, but he hasn't had a back issue, what I was worried about for a long time, but that hasn't popped up at all in the last 2 years. Last year, his only injury problems were a blister. So he got through it, pitched really well. I don't know. The projections don't love him for 2 ERA for me. I'm guessing the other systems are much more interested in him than that. Let's see what the bat says about him. Labatt has him for a 4.18 ERA. Steamer's at 4.07. I'm at 4.18. So none of us think the ERA is great. I mean, it's a middling K rate with, but he does get enough ground balls to make you think that he won't have a home run issue. So I think I would take him over what the projections are saying, but I don't want to buy into what he did last year. I don't think he's quite that good. I mean, he ended up with a 3.05 ERA in his last 11 starts on a 0.97 WHIP. I don't think he's quite that good. So a little bit of regression there, but solid SP3 for the Reds. I mean, and probably a pretty decent SP4 or 5 for your fantasy teams. And let's wrap it there. We got Andrew Abbott. We got Brady Singer. We're talking about in there. Rhett Lauder as well. And then the entire top 20 prospects that we did with Tim and Doc. But you'll have to go check that out at MLBDataWarehouse.com. And there's a ton of other stuff going on. I mean, it's fully fantasy baseball content time. So subscribe at MLBDataWarehouse.com for just right now. It's still $12 a month. I think that's going to go up $85 a year. If you want the daily projections when the season starts, you'll have to upgrade to the pro package, but more on that to come. So for now, become $12 a month subscriber. And if you want to upgrade, you won't be charged. It'll balance that out to take into account what you've paid for the year. So that's it for the Reds. We'll be back with more teams soon. Talk to you later. Peace out.